Yes.
Welcome to Friday Fuel. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Friday Fuel. We're super excited to be here. Guys, how we doing this morning?
Ooh.
Fired up, baby. Let's get it.
I'd say from the sounds of it, it sounds like Adam might be a little laggy right now. How you doing, Adam? You good?
Hey, man, I was working hard last night. You know,
As we were going live, Adam sends us a text. I've been up since 5 a.m. last night. Just rolled out of bed. LOL. That's so funny.
What were you doing, dude?
So I'm working on rolling out this this new CRM system.
Ooh.
And so I've been getting into like CSS coding and just like making things look pretty and, you know, design wise looking good. So like I was just super hyper focused on what I was doing with that. And then I looked up at the time and it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, I should probably go to bed.
Oh my goodness.
How many Mountain Dews or Red Bulls were you deep, dude?
That's the funny thing. None. I was like, I just had a Gatorade at like 12 o'clock, and then I was gone.
What in the world?
I'll tell you what, I remember doing that for school, but I've never done that for business, being up till 5 a.m. I'll tell you that.
I'm committed. Yeah, he's committed. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started with the episode. As always, thank you, the Medicare Machine Factory, Joshua Youngs. He lets us do what we do. We appreciate him very much. Go check his stuff out. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Go ahead and hit us up in the chat. Say good morning. The topic for today's episode is going to be goals. If you missed it, we had an episode earlier in the year where we kind of came into the new year and we listed our goals and ways to achieve your goals and how to write realistic goals. Well, this is kind of like a follow-up episode. So, if you want to go watch that episode, go ahead and watch that episode, then come back and see how we do. So basically we don't want to get into too much of the setting goals. We want to talk about, where our goals are right now, maybe some victories we've had, maybe some losses we've had, and then how to overcome that and how to, refocus and reshape your goals for the rest of the year. So let me go ahead and start with Alex. Alex, man, can you kind of give us a general consensus of how your goals are going this year? Some wins you've had, some losses as well.
Yeah. First off, grateful to be here, guys. I'm fired up. Another podcast. Episode 31.
31.
We're approaching a year. We're a little way, but we're approaching a year. So it's pretty exciting. Joe and Tony, we appreciate you guys. But
absolutely.
Definitely want to, just to begin with, before I go into my own personal goals, goal setting is obviously very important, because if you don't have a goal, you're driving without a destination, right? Like you don't know where you're going, right? You're going to be idle and stale right exactly where you're at. So obviously my first year actually in the business, I had goals, but I didn't have the goals that I have this year that are actually helping me propel and push my business to the next level, right? And then the following year, my goals are going to be even bigger. It's all about just understanding what a goal actually is, because if you don't have goals, you're going nowhere, like I said. Right here, my goal this year was to make a 300 grand. And I said it, I incremented it. So I want to like kind of give that a breakdown, because people set these yearly goals or these monthly goals, but they won't break it down day to day, right? And you have to break your goals down day to day to have that end destination of your main goal, which would be the 300,000 in my position, right? So my goal was to have $3,500 a week in traditional business, right? So that's deposited $3,500 a week in traditional business. Then monthly to have $11,000 in annuity business. That's deposited in my account. I've done that. I've been able to do this every single month this year so far, which is pretty exciting. And I've had higher deposits on my annuity side too. So I was telling Collin yesterday, I'm kind of over the 8 ball right now on my goals. So I'm really, really excited
Nice.
about that. Right. Obviously when people have the success with these type of goals that they may have, and they're already over the 8 ball, people can slow down, push back. I'm over the 8 ball. Maybe I can take a break coming up this March, since I'm already over the 8 ball. No. You got to keep pushing forward because, if I slow down, then I'll look at the end of the year. If I slow down and be like, well, dude, I only made 200 grand, not 300 grand with what I wanted to do. Right. The good thing is for me, one of the biggest things in goal setting, as we all know, is accountability. If you're not being held accountable, you won't have any goals. Right.
Yeah.
Good thing is for me is that I have my dad, for example. Right. So me and him actually had like a hour and a half, 2-hour meeting in the beginning of the year this year to lay out these goals, because it's very, very important that you have someone holding you accountable, because now if I start half-assing something or I'm not focused on my business, he's there to go ahead and say, Alex, what are you doing? You're supposed to be doing this. You're going to do nothing until you do this, right? So accountability is so good. I know in the insurance industry in itself, we all know as well, this industry can be a very lonely industry. If, for example, if you're just somewhere like in Michigan and you're just by yourself, your own sole individual agent, it's hard to be, held accountable from someone else, even if it's a remote guy. You know what I mean? That's why I love as well. I mean, we've all talked about this before, the one-on-one interaction, you know what I mean, with someone that's actually there living with you, right? The good benefit that I have is I don't just have my dad holding me accountable. I have all the agents holding me accountable, right? Because they hold me to this very, very high standard. And I know if I'm not going to if I'm not going to stay at that high standard, they're going to be like, well, what is Alex doing? You know what I mean?
Great question.
Well, Michigan won, Joe. I don't want to hear it, bro. They took care of business. They won this year. But yeah, I mean, that's that's a little bit about my goals, personal goals as well. I think those are very, very, very important as well, because those are my business goals. But my personal goals is to pray every single day, read scripture every single day, and write down what I'm grateful for every single day. First full month in January, I was very, very, very stressed out because in the beginning of January, I was behind on my business goals. So I honed in and I went full blast on my business goals, and I wasn't really focused on my personal goals. So starting February, what I started doing is, because one of my goals is to write down what I'm grateful for every single day and the goals that I have for that day, right? I want you guys to make sure what I said. You obviously you have the big yearly goal, but you have to break it down in increments every single day, right? So what I did to myself is I said Mondays, or every single day, I'll start at the top. I'll put, for example, this morning I did, right as I got out of bed, I put 3/8/2024, and then right below it, I put grateful, right? So I'm already starting off writing grateful. Then I'll write down column to column what I'm grateful for, right? My dad was telling me the other day, he's like, when you're grateful, it's hard to be negative and not have a good attitude, right? Because if you're sitting there with a bad attitude, what are you probably, Colin? You're probably not what?
If you have a bad attitude, you're
Yeah.
not going to write. You're not going to be in a good mood.
Exactly. You're not grateful.
seep
If
into
you have a
every
bad
part of your
attitude,
life.
yeah, exactly. It's all the same thing, like you said. So the big thing is for me is that I write these down. It puts my mindset in a good spot moving forward for this day, right? Write down everything I'm grateful for. And then once I'm done writing it down, everything I'm grateful for, I'll put right below it goals, right? I'll put right below it goals, and I'll put a goal for Mondays, because Mondays are going to be my day of attack, because I run solos on Monday. I'll say I want to make $2,000 up today on Monday, right? Because if I can get it all issued, I'll get paid by Friday, right? So there's already 2,000 off my board of the 3,500 I need in traditional business, right? I'll put that down, make 2,000 a day, no matter what the circumstance is. You're going to work till you make $2,000, and I hold that to myself, right? Next thing below that, I'll say pray and read a piece of scripture. Boom. Those are my two very, very most important goals today. I am not as pushing forward into reading. I need to read more, just because I get so busy with work and everything that's going on. It's hard for me to catch up with reading. But those are my personal goals too, because I would be 100% honest with you. Your personal goals are more important than your business goals, because if your personal goals aren't right, your business goals aren't going to be right either, right? So those are kind of the breakdown, Donnie, of my personal goals, and then as well as my business goals and how they all line together, right? Because if I'm not writing down what I'm grateful for and I'm not grateful, I'm not going to be grateful for my business, and I'm not going to be good in business because I'm not grateful in my personal life, right?
Yeah, I love that. And the reason I started with Alex is, I just want to make a quick mention of it. Alex is the youngest out of all four of us, and absolutely the most goal-oriented, the most consistent with his goals, creating not only unrealistic, realistic goals, and then going out and achieving it and conquering those goals. And I just want to, praise you and give you credit where credit is due. Absolutely. And you are definitely one of those guys who kills
Appreciate
it.
you,
So if
bro.
you're struggling with goals, please reach out to Alex. He's someone that, can absolutely help you if you're struggling to accomplish your goals, if you're struggling to set your goals, please reach out to Alex.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate that, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could even put on something, Donnie. I mean, even with myself, I give 100%. I'll finish with this, and then we can get someone else. I've been talking for way too long.
You're good.
I give praise and everything to my dad. He when it comes to my goal setting, it all stems from him. You know what I mean? If I didn't have him in my corner, I'm extremely grateful. If I didn't have him in my corner, having me set these goals and holding me accountable to these goals, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So I'm extremely grateful.
Because
Absolutely.
Ollie Sala is obsessed with your success.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
have to
He
find
is.
people obsessed with your success and their own success.
But
Absolutely.
he's got to be even more obsessed with my success than the other guy, right? I'm his son.
Alrighty, Colin. When we start the year, we kind of have, one word that we wanted to find, the rest of the year by. Can you kind of speak to your one word and how those goals, or how your goals have been affected throughout the year, some wins and some losses for yourself?
Yeah, so I actually I changed it to 3 words.
Oh,
So I had it
you're
on, I
cheating.
have become, and then I have all in.
Yep.
Mm,
Yep.
So I actually have my vision board and that letter to myself from the end of
Yep.
the year. And I'm on track with honestly a lot of it. I'm on track with everything except business. I'm a little bit further behind. I've got so I'm down 10 pounds. I've got my
Nice.
triathlon here in 5 weeks from tomorrow. My first one of 5 this year. So stoked for that. And then I'm on track for my scripture study, and my prayers.
That's
And
so good.
then at the beginning of the year, me and my wife, so we haven't been on a trip, just the 2 of us, or even a night away since our first kid's been born, and that's been over 3.5 years. And I had written that we'll go on a trip, just the 2 of us. And this next week, we're actually taking a trip to Vegas for our 6-year anniversary.
Let's
So
get it.
that's awesome.
How many tables are you running?
Dude, I've never gambled before in my life, but I kind of want to. I just feel like I have too addictive of a personality, and so if I start, I'm gonna be in the red pretty quick. I'll be spending all my lead money. So we'll see. We'll see. I might just be like, give me $100, and if I make it,
Colin's
awesome.
never
If I
coming
lose
back
it,
from
then
Vegas.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm in jail by the end of the week. And then financially, so mine's $176,000 is my yearly goal. I was on track for that in January. I came up a little bit short in February because that's when I started moving some contracts. Don't want to make excuses, but I've been in the process of moving contracts. And so with that, I've basically stopped all my life business for now.
And
But
Colin, that's a pain in the rear in itself, bro.
oh
I'll
yeah,
tell you about moving contracts, bro. This is it's a whole 2 to 4 month process, bro. I'll
yeah,
tell you and this is from personal experiences. Me and my dad was with this other company for 14 or 15 years. And we moved, what was it, 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now, we moved all of our contracts, bro. I didn't work for 2 months, bro. I couldn't work for 2 months holding contracts and then getting it all transferred over. It's brutal, bro. I understand.
yeah. So that's kind of sucked. I barely missed my goal of 100 MAPDs. Well, I'm a little bit behind because I still have the month of March to write 100 MAPDs in the first quarter. So that I'm a little bit behind. I'm at about 60. So I need to step it up for this month.
Tell us some of your plans for ramping that up. You know, how can you adjust? How can you overcome? How can you go into March with expectations of you're going to meet the goal at the end of the month?
Doing more seminars, honestly, getting out and about.
Yep.
I've so far the month of March, just craps come up. Life kind of hits you in the face. My wife, I had to take her to the ER
Yep.
2 days ago, and my son to the urgent care the same day.
Yep.
Just a whole bunch of health stuff we've been
Wow.
battling this month. My 1-year-old had surgery the week before. So it's just been out of the office, man. So it's just time away has taken me away. But like that's why we
And you
do
weren't,
insurance, right?
Colin, you weren't even that far off your goal though. I mean, you were a little
Yeah.
bit, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like you were like way off your goal. Even with,
Yeah.
and that's something people should talk to you about if you guys are struggling. Reach out to Colin. This dude's had a bunch of things come up this year, and he's still managing to push to his goal, even though he's a little short. He still fell forward. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's impressive, bro. Even with everything going on.
Yeah.
that's
So,
big.
but I mean, that's why we do insurance, right? Like if I
Yeah.
were another job, like I took off a lot of time. And if I was in another job, I wouldn't have been able to, I probably would have gotten fired, honestly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's things so much more important than insurance. Like I'll still probably hit my, like I'm still chasing after my goal. Like I'm still gonna go and get it.
100.
I just have to make up for it.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of insurance is that like I can take time off to spend with my family because that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Like yesterday
Yep.
was the 10 year, I don't know what you call it, anniversary. It's a terrible anniversary that my dad passed away.
Mm.
Was yesterday.
Mm.
So it's just, but I got to spend the time all day with my mom.
Yep.
And so it's just one of those things that like life is important. Like live life.
Yeah.
Just spend time with those that you love because you never know how much time you're going to get.
True.
But also chase after what you want.
Yep.
Like you can do everything that you want to do. You can chase after the money. You can chase after, you know, the freedom. You can chase after the time with your family, the health, whatever you want to do. Be a well-rounded person because that's where the joy comes in.
Mhm.
If your business is 100%, but your marriage and your health is at a 20%, you're still an unhappy, sad sack, honestly.
Yep.
Like you can be as successful as you want.
No
But
amount of money will change that.
yeah, but like if your personal life isn't where it wants to be, like where you want it to be, like you get that right. And
Yeah.
honestly, get that right first, and then your business will come along.
Amen.
So
Yes, sir.
I agree.
That's so good, Colin.
Sweet. So we'll go ahead and check in with the sleepy boy, Adam.
Oh, boy.
Adam, tell us about some times in the last 2 months that you've had to overcome some obstacles in the pursuit of getting your goals, and then, you know, of course, how your goals are going this year.
Man, that's a deep question there. So my perspective is going to be a little different than these two powerhouses over here who never stop working, it seems. So I guess where do I start? And I'll preface this by saying I don't want to make any excuses, and I don't want anybody to like feel bad for me. I'm just going to share what my experience has been,
Yeah.
and how I've kind of worked through it, and where I'm at now, and where I, you know, what my trajectory is. But essentially, last year at some point, I don't know when it was, probably like right after the Ultimate Agent. I'm just kidding. But I started going through some mental health issues. I was having some depression, anxiety, and, you know, I won't get too deep into it, but I was recently diagnosed with ADHD. And so I've been taking some ADHD medication to kind of help offset that. So I kind of refocus my mind. But that's something that I've been working through for the past, 6-9 months, whatever. And so that's really affected my my business as a whole, because I don't want to say I took a step back, but because my mind wasn't where it needed to be, I found myself so many times just, sitting there working, right? But not really. Like I would sit here at my desk and I'd be present, but not actually doing productive things, right? And I had dug myself into this hole where I didn't know like how to get out of it, right? And I just felt stuck for a long time. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. Like, pride is a real thing. Like you get feeling or thinking a certain way, and you don't want people to feel or think a certain way about you.
Yep.
Yeah. And I absolutely don't want to
hard
skip
to-
over this. There absolutely is a stigmatism with men's mental health.
Mhm.
And there's an epidemic in men's mental health that, guys are kind of conditioned to believe that you can't reach out. There's no one to help you. You just kind of have to deal with it and be strong. So absolutely keep going. I just wanted to make sure we had that noted.
Yeah, 100%. And so I just felt like I was kind of alone in this situation, and I was seeing, these guys and all the success that they're having and all this stuff. And I want to be at that level, but like mentally, I wasn't able to
Right.
get myself there. Right.
Mm.
And then that just made it worse. Right. Because I would set these goals for myself, and I'd be like, okay, tomorrow is going to be a better day. And then I would just do the same thing over and over. It was just this vicious cycle of tearing myself down. Till I finally like sought out help, started seeing a therapist, had a good conversation with my dad last week. And I don't think I don't know if I made a single life insurance sale in the month of February until the last day of February. When I closed 2.
There you go.
It's like the weird thing is, and I think Collin nailed this on the head during the Ultimate Agent. He said something about how I'm really good at like sales and selling insurance, but my problem is that I know that. And so I tend to take my foot off the gas when, like you were saying, Alex, like if I have a good week or if I make a couple good sales, then I just get comfortable and I kind of coast, right? And so it's not me lacking my confidence of knowing that I can do it. I think it's more of maybe not wanting to. I don't know. And so I've kind of been exploring different things and talking to my therapist, just thinking about different ways that I can manage my time. So it's not just insurance 100% of the time thinking about that, because that's obviously not been working for me. Right. So finding things like the CRM that I can work on in my free time to kind of free my mind from things. And just in the last week, I've wrote 4 policies, which
There we go, bro.
That's awesome.
It's a complete 180 from where I've been in the last month and a half. Right. So, Joe, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And Adam, I want to touch on this, bro. I think it's so important because, like you said, people's own pride gets in the way, bro.
Absolutely.
And you being vulnerable and being honest, bro, is like, I don't love anything more than honesty and vulnerability, bro, because like it changes everything, bro. Like people look at you from a whole different perspective, you know what I mean? Because nobody really actually knows what's going on with each individual agent, you know what I mean? Because we're all with completely different IMOs, you know what I mean? So it's really cool that like you're just 100%, bro, everything you mentioned.
Well, and the other weird thing too is like we've talked about this, having that imposter syndrome.
Yep.
Right. Where like all of us right here on this podcast, right? We're all really knowledgeable in this space, and we all have a wealth of knowledge to share with people. And I feel like I have a lot of good advice to give people. But then I feel like a hypocrite sometimes, right? Where I give advice and I'm like, you need to do this because this is what I've been taught to do, but I don't do it personally, you know? And so that's been another thing that I've struggled with too. And just kind of taking a step back and telling myself like, it's okay. And I think I've put too much blame on myself, maybe like negative blame. And I think people need to know that a lot of people have these thoughts, right? Like it's normal. And it's okay to not be the best insurance salesperson all the time. But just like taking care of your mental health and like that Facebook user said, just keep showing up.
Yep.
And just don't give up, right? Like you'll go through hard times. One of my goals when I first got into the industry was just like not quitting. And I think just this last year has been a testament of that to myself, of like, I've been through some really tough patches, but I'm still going because that's who I am. I'm not a person that's just going to stop and give up, because what kind of example is that for my kids or my wife or whoever, right?
Amen.
So that's where I'm at. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just want to
that was incredible.
just congratulate you, man, on the vulnerability, but also for not quitting. Because I know that I've had times where in this last year when I went out on my own, a lot of people don't know this. They didn't show it on the show. I was about to go do a solar blitz like the week of the Ultimate Agent, and then Cody called me and saved my career basically. Because it's just one of those things. I wasn't going to quit insurance, but I was like, I need to make money somehow.
Yeah.
And Medicare's a slow build. And I sucked at life insurance and didn't have money to buy leads or anything like that. And so I was like, well, I know I'm good at door-to-door sales. Let me go try that again.
Then you became a beast after a week.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So
legit, bro. It's impressive.
He's a beast.
But it's also the dark side of being a high achiever. And what I'm talking to you, Adam, because I have struggled with the same thing of just like, you feel like you're doing a lot, but at the same time, you're not doing in your mind enough.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky I have my wife, because my wife's the one that like slaps me up and is just like, you're doing great. Like, quit being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's okay if you have a month where you only write one policy, because look at what you've done in the past. And so one thing that I changed wallet, so I lost it, but I was told when I was doing door-to-door sales to have like a list of 5 to 10 things that that you've done good at. And that like when you're having those hard days, you can look back and be like, okay, yeah, I did that. Like
Good one.
I'm a good person. Like I've done hard things and I've made it through. And just a lot of agents need to hear that, man. It's just like, we all struggle, and the only way that you fail is if you quit.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Like a 1 app a month isn't a failure because you're still licensed. You're still writing business now.
Yeah.
That's not a failure. So just keep going, and that's the most important thing.
And that's one thing that my therapist kind of helped me realize too, was in the words of Ted Lasso, if you've seen the show, great show, says be a goldfish, right? Because they only have like a 10-second memory span.
Yeah.
And so don't get hung up on all the things that you've done wrong, because there are so many things that you've done right or that you've done well on. And I think that I tend to focus too much on the things, like you said, that I've done wrong, or that I mess up on. And so it's kind of helped me to be less hard on myself. And sometimes, I would have a day where I would, usually on Monday, because, it's Monday, I would come in and I'd be like, this sucks, or like, I don't want to work. I don't want to get out of bed, whatever it is. And I wouldn't have a productive day. And then the following day I'd be like, well, yesterday sucked too, so today's going to suck. And it was just this domino effect, right? And it just like ruins your whole week if you let it.
Yep.
So what she recommended to me, which has worked awesome, is she's like, if you have a day where you're just not feeling it, just like allow yourself to feel that and let it be okay, right? Give yourself a day or like the morning or whatever it is, and then say, okay, like that was just my time to relax. Now I'm going to get back into it, right? Like it was okay that I did that. And just allowing yourself this mental break, so you're not just pushing yourself at 110% all the time. And it's really helped me to get out of that slump that I was feeling for so long. And so it's great advice that I give to anybody. It's worked well for me.
Yeah.
I think it's I really do think, Adam, that's a great point. I think it's all a consistency factor too, because for example, if you line up a bunch of lazy days of business, right, every single day, like as an insurance broker, you're lazy this day, this day, this day, this day, and then it just becomes a habit,
Becomes
right?
every day.
Habit.
Yeah.
I believe all of us on the Ultimate Agent, we can all say pre-ultimate agent, it was all just lazy. These lazy business days, bro. Right? They were all piling up. After the ultimate agent, for myself, I started piling up all these really, really hard work days. Right? Kept piling up these work days. Now it just became a consistent habit of me just working that. It was just a normal now. I kept working like that every single day, right? Because I did it every single day consistently, and that's what takes the next step in your business, is being consistent with working hard. Not so much the result, because you're getting better every single day, and you see that you're working harder every single day. So the hard work's already there. Being consistent with it every day. So now you're not on the lazy side anymore. You're on the hard working side, right? Every single day. Now it's just a normal habit of you having the hard work, and then the results come right with it.
Yeah.
And to go with that too, I'll also say that something that I've noticed that, mood change completely is just having people to talk to.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's where so many agents will fall off the bandwagon, is just not having new people to engage with, or even new opportunities to sell. And so when I'm not having a consistent lead flow, or if I'm not going back through my pipeline, I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs.
Yep.
So it's so important to do that. And I'm guilty of this, and I can testify that I know that it's true, because I've seen it firsthand, and it's something that I've dealt with. But just making sure that you have people to talk to, like, even if you don't have money to buy leads, like I went back through some of my more recent stuff, like in the last 3-4 months, and I just made a list of people that like had said they had some kind of interest, or that I never followed up with, or whatever. And that's how I've written all the policies I have in the last week, just from following up with like old stuff in my pipeline. So just find some way that you can engage with people, and that will keep your momentum going.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and there's some overarching themes to each one of y'all's stories, and I think that's, accountability. I think that's, having a person that you can talk to whenever you're up, that can celebrate you and then help you out whenever you're down. Can you guys think any more? Because I just kind of want to give it out and lay it out for the audience, just so they can kind of takes the long and insert it into their lives.
I wanted to touch on one more thing. I think a lot of it comes back to confidence. And if
Absolutely.
you tie your confidence to your result, then you're never going to have steady confidence. But if you tie your confidence to the work
Yep.
and the intent behind the work, like that you're a good person, you're calling these people because you want to help them, not scam them. Like if you tie, and Ed Milet talks about that. I don't know if I had mentioned that already, but he says tie your confidence to your intent and your work ethic, and not the result. The result's always going to vary. There's going to be days where you close 7 out of 7. There's going to be days where you go 0 for 12. But if you put in the same amount of work, like, you shouldn't be having a bad day on the 0 to 12 day, because it's like, hey, I worked hard. And I think back to that, and then I want to hear about yours, Donnie. Like, yeah, I'm mad, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, except Alex. I'm like pretty disappointed. Like, I'm mad that I didn't win Ultimate Agent just because I'm competitive. But at the same time, I have zero regrets. Like, there's zero things that I can think of that it's like, yeah, I didn't turn over that rock. Yeah, I didn't dial hard enough. I didn't work hard enough.
Yeah.
Like, there's zero regret to that whole week.
Yep.
And if you can just build days and weeks like that, to where it's just like, I don't know what else I could have done.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with a win that week. Like, I didn't end with a win, but I have 100% confidence. That's like, yeah, I did everything in my power that I could have.
Yeah.
And with that, I have peace.
These boys know I was trying any and everything, and I was exhausting all resources during that competition. So yeah. So to get a little bit into my goals, I want to agree with Adam first. It is very hard sometimes to not compare yourself to other people in the industry, especially people like your close friends who are very much Titans. Alex is very much a Titan. Adam is very much a Titan. Collin is very much a Titan. And having perspective and just realizing that just because I'm not at their level yet doesn't mean that I'm any less qualified, any less, grateful for what I have. And you know, it's hard to hear someone like, oh, I want to do 300K this year, and then not be like, oh dang, you know, I wish that could be me. But guess what? I know that can be me. I just need to put in these consistent periods that he's done and get, you know, the skills that he's acquired, and that Collin's acquired, and that Adam's acquired, and that I will get there. And then if I don't do this step, and my overarching theme for this year is consistency. So I didn't really set a financial goal. I didn't really set a, you know, I want this number. I said I want consistent work. I want, you know, at least 5 days a week where I'm putting money making activity days in, whether that's, you know, acquiring someone to talk to, actually sitting down for a presentation, or doing, you know, course follow up and whatnot. I also wanted to do at least 5 policies a week. I'll tell you this, my year did not start out good. The first week of January, I wrote 4. The second week of January, I wrote 3. And then the subsequent 6 weeks, I met my goal. I either hit 5 to 8 policies, and I do want to include, for the time being, I'm passing off all of my Medicare and commission splitting with my mentor, because I, at the beginning of the year, said I'm just overwhelming myself with all these different products and all these different lines, and I really just want to get one consistent thing down. And then when I have it down, I can go ahead and start adding the stuff. So if I do have a Medicare client, for the time being, I'm passing it off so I can focus on life, and then I can get those resources that I can go ahead and start, you know, branching out and doing Medicare, or doing, you know, ACA. So I really wanted one full year of just working my butt off, being consistent, so that this is a full-time job, instead of me just kind of meandering and living part-time and making it part-time, because that's what is so great about this industry, is you can make it part-time. But like Adam said, you kind of get in a hole, and you kind of get repetitive, and you kind of just get drained, and you know, there's nothing you kind of really look forward to if you're not building something. So I want to build an agency. I want to build, you know, a 300K income like Alex. I want to build a massive book of business like Collin. I want to build a massive book of business or of ACA like Adam. Like, I want to do all of these things, but for the time being, I have to have some self-awareness and focus on my goals, so that I can get to that point and not be, you know, comparing myself to other people, and not getting upset and demotivated just because I don't have what they have.
I think you hit it on the nail head, Donnie. One thing I wanted to tell you that really stuck with me when you were talking. You mentioned in the beginning, I'm trying to find the right way to word this. You said that I may not be at the same level as Collin or Alex or Adam, for example, right? You said you may not be on the same level yet, but it's not that you're not going to be at that same level at one point, right?
Yep.
The thing about it is it all starts with what you're telling yourself, right? Because I want to let you know that you actually are on the same level with us, but you're telling yourself that you're not on the same level with us. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
So you have the confidence, bro. You're all there, bro. We watched you on the Ultimate Agent, freaking badass, bro, to say the least, bro. Like, legit, you know.
I mean, from day 1 to day 4 or 5, whatever it was,
yeah,
like complete 180. It's great.
Legit, Donnie's so good. And like I said, you're telling yourself you're not on the same level as us, but you actually are, right? You're just not doing the daily activities. You are doing the daily activities because you're putting in apps, but you may not be doing the same exact daily activities as me or Collin or Adam may doing. We all have to each their own, you know what I mean? But I want to let you know that you are on the same level. It's about just putting yourself, for example, in the right room. You know what I mean? Doing the money making activities every single day, right?
Yep.
I find myself scrolling sometimes, but when I'm working, it's work time. You know what I mean? It's not scroll time. I'm doing money making activities when I'm supposed to be working, because that's how I know I'm going to propel my business, right? Just know that you are on the same level, but don't tell yourself that you're not on the same level, because that's not true.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And that's a really great point. That's a really great point.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to point something out too. Like, it's hard to, I don't know if I'm the only one that does this, but like I don't necessarily compare myself to others, but I compare myself to my past self, and that does damage too, to where it's just like,
yep.
And I only compare myself to like myself at my best in the past.
Oh,
to where it's just like, dude, if I didn't write freaking 18K this week like I did on Ultimate Agent, we'll suck. Like, I suck then, you know, like, and so that's what I struggle with, is just like, comparing, like if I didn't have my best week ever or my best day ever, then I kind of kick myself in the pants. That's just like, oh, I didn't sell 7 MAPDs today. I only sold 2. Like it wasn't that great. And so it's just like, that's hard too. Like I need to learn to get over that. I don't know if anybody else struggles with that. But it's just comparison is the thief of joy. And especially if you're comparing yourself to a better time. So just be present and know that it's all about effort and your intent. And if you're good with that, then you're going to be okay. But it's a process. It's a process to learn.
Yeah.
So
It's intentionality and effort 100%, Colin, because think about it. When you're, and I've been in the car with people that are like, don't give that money to him, or you shouldn't be giving the money to him. He's just going to go spend it on drugs. You know what I mean? Like a homeless guy on the side of the road, right? I'm doing it because I care for the guy. And I hope that he's going to do something good with the money, right? But you don't know what he is going to do with the money. But what's the number one thing that matters in that whole situation? It's the intention and why I was giving him the money, right?
Yep.
That's it, bro. And it's the same thing how it relates back to business.
Yep.
And I think too that accountability is a big piece. I've noticed in myself, it's really easy to not hold myself accountable or have anybody else to hold me accountable because I work from home. I'm secluded out here in North Carolina. Don't really have any like coworkers near me, right? And so it's really easy to just like become a hermit, kind of do my own thing, and nobody's really checking up on me. And so I would say it's important to, number one, not compare yourself like they were talking about. It's really easy to see Alex being like, oh, I just put up a $30,000 commission annuity. And I'm like, I just wrote a $700 app. Like, you know,
It's so true.
So not comparing yourself, but then putting it out there like, hey, this is what I did this week, and having people who are in your circle who support you and being like, hey, good job, but I also know that you can do better, right? And having people that can push you in the right direction. And that's why I've been grateful for you guys. If it wasn't for doing this podcast and having you guys in my circle the last year, like I probably would have quit at some point. Just with all the mental health stuff that I was going through, but you guys helped me stay strong. So thank you.
Love you, bro.
And that's a great way to end it, because I want to mention to everybody that's watching either live or after the fact, if you have nobody, the 4 of us are here. You can see our handles and under all of our names, reach out to us. We're really, we seek people to talk to just as much as you're seeking, people to talk to. We love adding, people to our repertoire, to our arsenal that can, have our backs and we can have theirs, and we can share this life, in God's eyes and in the way that, he's meant it. So I think it's a great way to end. Of course, we want to also mention, of course, I saw him somewhere in the chat. Have a great day, fellas. Joshua Young's Medicare Machine Factory. He's a beast. He's doing great things over there. Go reach out. As always, Joe, Tony, thank you very much. We love you. That's the end of episode 31, guys. That's so insane. I can't believe we've been doing this for
crazy, bro.
It's awesome.
31 weeks. Go out there. Go kill your Friday. Go kill your Saturday. Go kill your Sunday. Go after your goals. If you're behind, if you're ahead, heck yeah, keep being consistent with it. And we'll end it there. Love you guys.
Sweet.
Love you too.
Have a good week.